0 victories for England, only 1 goal, facing relegation from League A. It's been a disaster of a Nations League for England. Let's take a look. So who would have thought I'd be making this video? If you look back, I did do a prediction video where I didn't predict England to certainly win all 4 of these games, but I picked England to win home and away against Hungary.
Martin Gray coming up and holding his hands up, fair enough.
We'll come on to that in a minute. To draw with Germany and to draw with Italy. I got 2 of those right. However, the 2 Hungary games, that's what I know everyone's here for. Absolute disaster of a performance. Who would have thought England coming into these 4 games were on their longest unbeaten run in their history within 90 minutes. At the end of these 4 games, half of the fans in the ground wanted Southgate gone. What has happened? How quickly you can fall from grace. And England are now in a real dilemma. I think the problem throughout all these 4 games was the fact that it's the performances. It's not the results, it's the performances that have really turned people's opinion and made people really anti-Southgate and wanting him out. There was 4 games over 10 days, which in itself is a challenge, but it is not an excuse. All other nations have had to do the same. Don't buy this tiredness stuff. Yes, 4 games in 10 days is a lot, but he picked a big squad. He did a lot of rotation and it's come back to bite him. The first game against Hungary, we didn't treat it with respect. We went there and played it like a friendly. Starting lineup was like a friendly. He was making numerous substitutions on the 60th minute like he did in the friendlies against Ivory Coast and Switzerland. We went there and we weren't bothered. We weren't bothered about the victory. It was more to do with giving players a run out. Trent Alexander-Arnold came in, had a shocking game. Absolutely shocking. He doesn't look like he wants to be there. 5 at the back. Finally, hopefully, if there's any positive that's come from these 4 games, it's that Southgate has realised that 5 at the back does not work. That's my only hope that we've gained anything from these 4 games. Hungary, though, congratulations. It was never a penalty, though. Let's be very clear. It wasn't a penalty. The same way it wasn't a penalty when we played them back in Wembley end of last year. So they seem to keep getting decisions. And even in the last game, even though we're 3-0 down, Stones got sent off for an horrendous decision. So I don't know what it is with Hungary sometimes and decisions against us. But certainly in this first game, it just was not a penalty, was it? At all. But England 1-0, it didn't flatter Hungary. I don't think a draw would have flattered England because it was very much, neither team was great, but Hungary certainly, you would say, were the better team if you was going to pick one, so it didn't flatter them. And it just got us off to the most horrendous start. And you thought there was going to be a reaction to that. And there was a little bit. The Germany game, there was an improvement, particularly those last 15 to 20 minutes when Grealish came on. I think England finished the stronger team, and 1-1 away in Germany is a good result, so I'm more than happy with that result, and we seemed to play okay. We could even maybe nick the winner at the end, but it certainly wasn't a polished performance, but you still felt that England were playing within themselves and still looked lethargic and lazy, but we got the result nevertheless. And obviously there was the Italy game, and it was a little bit more. We should have scored. Mason Mount, I think there's big questions about Mason Mount that's come out of these 4 games, because it's what is he offering? He's not scoring goals. He doesn't track back as such. He's not a nuisance in midfield. So what is he doing for England in that role? And I think a lot of pressure's come on him following this recent break. But he should have scored in this game. Italy had their chances as well. So overall, I don't think a draw again flattered England or flattered Italy. I think it was about even and about fair. But England again still didn't look themselves, did they? But let's get on to it. The final game, the 4-0 against Hungary, is the worst result. It's worse. It's the worst performance in years, and I mean in years. I think I said in the vlog, I could not remember the last time England had lost 4-0. We now actually know it was around about 96 years ago since England lost by 4 goals at home. It's a disastrous performance. It's a worse performance than Iceland, but it doesn't come out as bad as Iceland because this wasn't in a major international competition, if you like. I don't buy this UEFA Nations League being only Mickey Mouse games or anything like that. We are a country that has not won a tournament in over 50 years. What respect do we have to treat the Nations League like friendly games? We should be going for this trophy. We should be putting our efforts into it. It's going to be a disaster if we finish in League B, because essentially the Nations League is over 2 years. It's not every year. These group stages will now be done at the end of this year, and then whoever gets through to the semi-final and final takes place next year. Following year after that, we're going to be in League B for 2 years, essentially. Again, we're playing in something that isn't going to get us any trophies. The whole point of the Nations League was to put ourselves against the strongest opponent. So I think it's a disaster for me if we go to League B. I know a lot of fans won't agree with me on that, but I think that's really narrow-minded thinking from England fans. We need to be winning trophies. There is nothing wrong with going all out to win the Nations League, and I think Southgate and the whole squad have treated it with complete disrespect. And almost got what they deserved, really, if I'm being honest with you. But I was at the game, as you know, at the Molineux against Hungary, and it just went from bad to worse. It was the worst performance out of the four. England did nothing, absolutely nothing for the full 90 minutes. Just Stones playing it between the back four all game. There's no threat, there's no penetration. Nobody seemed to want the ball in midfield. Everyone's isolated. It was just a disastrous performance. They did not want to be there, and that isn't good enough. But Southgate has got a lot to answer for. I'm a Southgate in guy. I think not long ago, Southgate, is on our, like I said, we was on our biggest unbeaten run. We've got through to finals and semi-finals that we haven't done in 50 years. He's earned his shot at this World Cup, no doubt about it. And no one can come in with only 2 games left now. We have only got 2 games left until that World Cup. Nobody's going to come in with any sort of preparation time, so he has to be our man. But he's got a lot of questions to answer for because he's picked a big squad. A lot of these players played as well. He rotated them all, and I can't think of a single one really who performed for him. So they haven't performed for him, and he's chopped and changed systems, and none of them work. So he's in a bit of bother now. He's in quite a bit of bother. He's put pressure on himself when he didn't necessarily need it. I think with Southgate, the pressure's come on quite quickly because he isn't a popular manager anyway. He never has been. A lot of fans feel like he's just not qualified for the England job. Everyone's always complained, even when we're reaching finals, that he's too defensive. He's already a big divide anyway, so as soon as the results start going downhill, everyone's going to be after his head. There is a divide though. I think a lot of fans are rational and thinking, no, he's done what he's done with us. You cannot doubt his record. He's obviously going to have to be the man to take us to the World Cup because we've only got 2 games left. So I'm going to back him. I think all England fans should back him because that's what we've got to do now. Get behind the team, but he's put pressure on himself. He really has, and the players have as well. They rightly got booed at the end at full time. It was a ridiculous performance, embarrassing. No England player should put on an England shirt and perform like that. But it leaves us bottom of the group. I'm going to put the group up just now so you can have a look. But it leaves us bottom of the group. We've got to win our last 2 games to have any chance of staying in the group. We won't. I guarantee you now we will not win those 2 games. So it all looks like England are going to be in League B. And it's just what a waste of time, what a waste of effort. And I just cannot believe England have performed so badly, so quickly as well. But I have mentioned in previous videos, you can maybe think back, was this coming? The Switzerland game was terrible. We should have been 3-4-0 down in that. The last couple of games against Poland and Hungary in the World Cup qualifiers, we went there and we were poor, really poor. I'm not going on about the Albania and the San Marino games. I'm talking about any team that's organised and a solid team, nothing more than a solid team. Every single one we've played in our last 4 or 5 matches we've struggled against. So I wouldn't say a 4-0 against Hungary's been coming at home, but these results have been on the cards. It doesn't really surprise me when you really think about it. But it's a massive fall from grace for Southgate and this England team, who at one point could do nothing wrong, and they've got to change it around. It really does now give me fear for that World Cup group, and I mean even the opening game against Iran, because they're going to be organised just like Hungary, and it's just, these are the teams that we're just finding impossible to do anything against. What was a simple World Cup group is now looking very complicated when it should not be at all. We have an abundance of riches, we all know that, and I just hope we can turn it around. There's a big gap now, and I think it's needed. A lot can change in football in 2 or 3 weeks. Anybody who watches league football would know a lot can change in a fortnight. So a couple of months away, a lot can turn around again. Who knows, if England do get a couple of results at the end of this Nations League and we stay in the group, everyone's mindset quickly changes back around again because it's going to be against Italy and Germany. I don't think we will, but football can do that to you. I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who contributed to my last video. So Russell from the 3 Lions podcast, Ryan, the American fan who has his own YouTube channel. The link is in the description below for both of those two. And a big special mention to those Hungarian fans. They were brilliant after the final whistle. Fair play, lads. Well deserved, and thank you for being humble in your victory. And a special mention to Maya, who I think was a little star in that last video. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. It's a couple of months now to the next England game, so I'll be dropping a few random videos in between, but I look forward to seeing you on the next video.